Hey guys, welcome to our reaction video for the FC Cincinnati 3-1 victory over CF Montreal. Sam, we just finished watching this match. How we feeling, man? Awesome game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely awesome game to watch. Exactly what you want to see from this squad going up to Canada and starting a two match day week. But Ryan, you got it on the head, man. You got it on the head.
Yeah, I nailed it. For those who watched our preview, I guessed a 3-1 victory for FCC. I nailed the result. Didn't like that we gave up that last goal, I'm not going to lie. But hey, predicted it correctly. I think you had 2-1, so you were pretty close
Yes,
as
yeah,
well.
close enough.
So yeah, absolutely pumped about 3 points on the road, Sam. So right before we dive into this match, we wanted to mention shout out to Miles Robinson, Evander for being named to the MLS All-Star team. We'll dive deeper into the next episode on this one and what that means for these two players, maybe who got snubbed potentially from the All-Star game as well. But Sam, match day 20 did not disappoint for FC Cincinnati. We got our 11th win on the season now, I believe. So right now, we're sitting currently in second. I think Philly had won tonight as well as we're recording this. But awesome, just result for us, especially because CF Montreal had just come off of a 3-1 victory against Houston. Their team has still not won at home, Sam.
That's crazy. I knew that was a stat that another stat that we didn't cover in the preview, as well as they've got a new head coach, so a lot of new things going on over there in Montreal, and I guess Canada's just not the place to be for them, right? I guess not.
You could hear like the crowd was like really like excited, like energetic, I should say. They get that last goal, but they're last in the East. They're still showing out. I think we saw some FC Cincinnati supporters there as well. But yeah, overall, Sam, in this one, if we look at the beginning and the lineup wise, any surprises for you? I mean, this was the first time we had seen, I think, the same lineup consecutively in a long time.
Very long time, very long time. This is the first time this season that we've seen a consecutive lineup. So something new, right? I know you and I were joking, during the preview too, of like, I mean, we're not going to see the same one. There's no way. And Pat, I mean, he keeps us guessing, right? He's always, puts us on our toes. But yeah, same lineup, Ryan. We get to see Kai Kamara for the second straight start as well. So we were debating, what do we see, right? Do we see them kind of go small up top or do they go big? And clearly we wanted to play big up front.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great shout. We talked about it in the preview. Kai Kamara, striker, turned broadcaster, turned now starting, striker midweek. So awesome to see Kai in there. He actually had a big part in what we did in a couple of the goals, actually. So shout out to him. But Sam, on the flip side, CF Montreal, we're actually missing a lot of players from this one. Nathan Saliba, a guy that might be, going to Anderlecht here soon. Joel Waterman, Deontay Seeley was also a guy that we weren't sure if we were going to see. We actually see him as a sub in the second half. But yeah, Montreal had some decent players there. I think Caden Clark goes down.
Mhm.
But overall, what it kind of showed me is that Pat was going for it. Midweek doesn't matter, potentially if we have rotation on Saturday. It's interesting to me that this is the game that he chose to go with maybe a stronger lineup. If I wanted to be a little bit critical, especially going into Orlando on Saturday. But yeah, I mean, this is the strongest, arguably, that we have right now. I mean, there's a lot of debate about that, but that's what I would say. But first 10 minutes of this match, we came out pressing, a lot of energy. We had some decent chances in front of goal. Montreal was playing a little bit more of a counterattack, which FC Cincinnati is not really, used to in some ways. But yeah, I would say that first kind of 15, 20 minutes, even going up, into 30 minutes, a really testing out period. Did you see anything in those first 30 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, it was kind of back and forth, like you mentioned there. FC kind of came out of the gates real hot, pressing up front. But then Montreal kind of found their groove a little bit, had, I believe, one or two chances. Roman had to make a save there, but I think, FC was putting it on goal. It just wasn't maybe in the bottom right corners. Maybe it was right at the keeper. But at least we were getting shots on goal, putting pressure on the defense a little bit there in the first, 30 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I wanted to also give credit where credit was due. I was going back to even look at this one, but Obi has now got 10,000 minutes for the orange and blue. He hit that in the first half. Of course, as soon as he hits it, though, poor guy gets injured. Kind of an awkward ball that's bouncing up in the air. He kind of stretches his leg out. To me, it kind of looked more like a hip flexor type injury or like a hip pointer type problem. Maybe potentially his knee if it got hyperextended. He looked like he was, able to run on the sideline, put some weight on it, but they didn't want to push it, too much, especially with several important games coming up here. So, Sam, right call, do you think overall in that? Obviously, we don't know exactly the extent of the injury, but yeah, I think it was probably smart, don't you think?
Yeah, I think right call there, especially since you've got such a phenomenal backup in Anunga. Now he can slot in and it's almost like nothing changed. But with Obi, I think you want to be careful, especially, he's been out, a little bit this season as well, with some injuries. So you just want to be careful with a lot of these guys. I mean, like we talked about this past week, right? Talking about the preview, we have everybody back.
Hmm.
Obviously barring Santos and Robinson and obviously Hagelin. But yeah, we've got everybody healthy, and now Obi's out, and you want to be as careful as possible. Not sure he'll be available for Saturday. I would assume that Anuga slots in there in the midfield, or maybe Pat goes different formation, but look to see Anuga for sure for the start.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think, especially him next to Buka, they have some familiarity there. We've seen it for several games in the past. Unfortunately, with Obi being out, we hope we're wrong. We hope Obi's all right, and it was just a knock, and it was precautionary. But Sam, about 5 minutes later, we get the breakthrough goal. I would say, in some ways, don't you think there was some chances prior to that looked like
Yeah.
this was coming?
Hmm.
But shout out again to Kai Kamara. He holds the ball up well on this first goal, leads to playing the ball out wide to DeAndre Yedlin. There is a lot of interesting takes, that I was seeing about DeAndre in this match. And, he went and put a dot right onto Evander. Evander has a brilliant touch. Let's not skip over the fact that he places it
Yeah,
nicely onto his
at
boot.
first, at first the broadcast was like, "Oh, heavy touch by Evander." I was like, "What do you mean? That was a rocket into
Yeah.
the box.
Yeah.
Like that was a
Well,
phenomenal
like,
way to control it."
yeah, knee level, able to, like, settle it down, get it onto his foot, and slots it past the keeper.
Volleys it. Yeah.
Unbelievable for what, his 10th goal of the season. So now two FC Cincinnati players with 10 goals on the MLS season. Pretty cool to see. I think he's up there for quickest to 10 goals in our FCC history now as well. But two games in a row, like we mentioned with that Kai Kamara hold up, I think you're going to see much of the same moving forward. So, but you get that right before the half. You got to feel good about the fact that you're going into the break. You have the lead. We had a 5-1 shot lead, I guess, technically on the first half too. But 5 out of the 6 were on target too, so pretty quality. Montreal with more corners and XG technically, but again, we had the lead going into half, and I felt pretty good about it. The second half, let's call it the Luca Orishano and Evander half, or maybe the Luca Orishano and Evander game. I mean, those two, little clap there for them. That was just unbelievable play by them. Great team effort in that second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And before before we get into those moments, you thought it was going to be a little Orishano Denke because they had, the bulk of the chances,
Yep.
if you want to call them big chances, there in the first 20 minutes of the second half there. But yeah, Ryan Orishano, he finally gets on the board. We've been waiting, we've been putting up polls. Unfortunately, LA Galaxy got a win before he got a goal, so we didn't win that one. But Ryan, I mean, long time coming. He can finally take a deep breath.
Well, even your poll, from the first half was who was going to get a goal, quicker. Was it Kai Kamara or Luca Orishano? And Luca must have seen that at half or something and be like, "Oh man, I got to
Well,
score
yeah, the
first."
bulk of the people had Kamara.
Everyone had Kamara, yeah. So,
Even somebody in the comments was like, "Hey, can I change my my answer
right.
here?"
Yeah. Shout out to him. He always seems to play well against Montreal. If anyone was watching the broadcast, they shouted him out for his goal of the season against them last year as well.
True.
But yeah, Luca gets this nice goal. Prior to that, Denke had a chance from,
Mhm.
I believe, Kai Kamara that he tries to cut back onto his foot and he misses, but it was a good chance. But then yeah, Luca just some magic. 1-2 balls with Evander. What we had really been wanting to see this whole season. Really good build up. You get him out wide, 1-on-1. You have him cut in, play the ball to Evander, a little chip back in. Man, that's what we've been missing, from these two and from the attack. And then a beautifully slotted ball with his left foot past the keeper. Hopefully, Sam, let's hope this really unlocks Luca Warshano. He builds in his confidence now, and the floodgates open for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, I mean, him being able to take that defender 1v1 on that side, and
All match.
Ryan, he's the only person in the MLS that you will see go 1v1 with a player and cut in as a left-footed player with his left foot towards the right side. I think he's the only player that you'll see do that and get past the defender and score, right? This is his first goal since November 2nd in the playoffs of last season against NYCFC. So been a very, very long time.
Yeah, much needed for him, much needed for the team. To go up 2-0, I'd really been asking this team, how can we push,
Yep.
past that one goal lead? Can we really kind of turn on the pedal
All gas, no brakes.
and go for it? And Salmon, you're wearing the bucket hat tonight for those who are watching this. Shades of Adiyama, of
Hmm.
Borussia Dortmund, where he's taking on players out wide, in creating chances. I think Luca deserves a lot of praise for what he did in this match. I hope he can build on it, like I said, and I hope that this leads to maybe 4 games in a row for him with a goal. But Sam, past that, we keep building, and you see a nice team goal again. 83rd minute, Evander gets his brace. What did you see in this play?
Oh my gosh. I mean, this was as easy as it gets, honestly. I mean, you see another one of our left backs make a run into space, and I mean, he just cuts the ball back, and
Lucas
Evander's
Engel.
Lucas Engel, yes, another one of our left backs. He just cuts the ball back into wide open space for Evander. Evander's sitting there at the penalty spot, just waiting for it. And Ryan, he put some pace on it for that brace. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, pays for the brace. Nice finish by him. He's so clinical, man, with his finishes. Um, to get a brace, to get an assist on the night. So 3 goal contributions. Just had been named to the All-Star team prior to the match. Maybe that fueled him a little bit in this one. He really showed out as an All-Star. Is there some talk for him now in the MVP race too as we go along? We'll touch on that, maybe in the next episode. But he's making his case hold. If we look at the 16 goal contributions that he now has in the MLS season, we can add actually he's got 11 goals now, I believe, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, so even more than I think what you have listed on here.
Well, yeah, I guess 11 now because it would have been 10 for the first goal. So, yeah, 11
11
goals.
and then 7 assists, I think, if we go back and look at that one as well.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got 16 goal contributions in the MLS this season total. So he's got 9 goals in MLS and then 7 assists because his first goal in this game was 8 and then 9. So now he's
Okay.
got 16 total in the MLS. He's tied for second in the MLS, I think, right now. I could be wrong. I think Stur or somebody else has 17 goal comps, but Messi has 16. I know that.
Messi's up there as well. I think you're right
Yeah.
about that. I was just going to kind of double check on this as well because it's been an amazing run for him and
Hmm.
the first half of the season. He's building on it. He's only catching fire and he's building in some of the relationship with some of the other players too, which I think is special to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 7 assists, 9 goals. Now I mean, he's at 11, so I think more than 16 then, right?
Well, yeah, total. This is just MLS.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, no, amazing to see. But then we get some subs in and we give up a goal, Sam. Kind of disappointed with a little bit of that. Really would love the clean sheet on the road. Miazga kind of ducks on a swinging ball. We've seen him do this several times. I think Engel gets beat on the back stick, on his man. And you give up that
I don't
goal, you
know if
give him a little
that's
bit of
I don't know
faith
if that's
there.
on angle though.
It's not necessarily because of what Miazga's doing, but he's got to be in a better position to mark his man.
I agree. I agree, but he's thinking he has help on the front side and Miazga ducks. Like,
True.
what are we doing? But yeah, I think just, concede there 90th minute. I think Pat, honestly, I mean, at he scored 3 goals. Are you just do you kind of, if you're Pat, in your mind, you're going in the locker room, you go, forget about those three. I wanted the clean sheet. Like I'm gonna get in there, and rough it up a little bit, make them know that we should not be conceding that late.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. So, with this, it's a 3-1 win, man. We're pumped about it. I feel really good about, the month of June so far, 2 wins. That's all you can ask away from home.
Hmm.
And then a big match coming up against Orlando, which we had previewed. So go check that out in our last episode. But past that, I believe right now, if Philly is winning, I'm kind of looking at the stats of things. I think we are actually 4 points behind the Philadelphia Union on the current live standings of things, the way that it
Yeah,
sits
yeah, yeah.
as of right now. So still in a really good spot. Overall, in Supporters Shield race, also second, which is very impressive. Philly's been on a heater. I don't think they've lost in like 11 games or something like that. But for us, man, more points from away matches than at home, which is kind of a crazy stat. 6-1-4 on the road. I think the last 2 seasons been really dominant with that. At home necessarily hasn't been like a problem per se, but recently the form has kind of dipped a little bit there. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts, coming out of this one?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, to be able to have 2 wins on the road in June here, I think is all you can ask for. We knew at the beginning of this road trip that we were going to be away from home for a while, and when you come into, honestly, play the worst team in, arguably the MLS or
You
in
should
the
win.
East, you should win, right? So 3 points were expected in this one, but I think, like we had talked about, go check out the preview for Orlando. That should be a tough game though, going into that one. But
Yeah,
Ryan,
as
I,
it
I th
stands right now, they're up 3-2 against St. Louis on the
yeah,
road. So we'll see what happens out of that one. But yeah, Evander, Sam, with his 2 goals tonight and his assist, became the second player in FC Cincinnati history. Lucho was the other one last year and in 2022 to get at least 15 goal contributions in less than 1,500 minutes of a season. He's been just a silent killer, I would say.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, I think we're just blessed, right? We're blessed to have another player like this just come into our squad after, Lucho was that for so many years, and to be able to walk in and say, man, this might be even better. We had it good. This might be even better than what we had. So he's going to continue to break records, set records the rest of the season, create FC Cincinnati history, which is just awesome to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, big win for FC Cincinnati in this one. 3-1. We build for Saturday now. Let's see what comes out of this. Hopefully, guys are well rested. They didn't get too many knocks. We'll see where Obi stands, with this, and kind of follow along also as well to see what's going on with Orlando. For those who missed it, I think Miles Robinson is going to be out for this game on Saturday as well. But past that, Sam, coming out of this one, any top performers that you want to shout out, past the obvious, with Evander, I think, but any other people that you would want to shout out from this one?
Yeah, I think, I mean, Yedlin, I think, played a really good game.
Whoa.
I know, once again, like you said, he was getting some hate, and he's able to put a ball in. It gets an assist for Evander on this one. But I think it's refining, right? We see the quality that he possesses, game in, game out, but you also see the times where, there's I guess, goal opportunities or chances, and he's the guy playing the ball into the box, and he doesn't quite put it in the right spot. Right. I think you saw a couple of those times. Denke, a little frustrated with him not playing the ball in front rather than, he plays the ball behind him into a space where nobody is. So I think Yedlin played really well. And then the back line. I mean, Flores, I thought in the second half
Yeah.
cleaned up a lot of his I don't know, not mistakes, but different ways that he played in the first half. He cleaned it up. Second half, he played great, was able to track back and do really well to get those recoveries. But yeah, I think those two players I'd have to shout out. Obviously, I mean, Are you gonna say probably Buka in the middle as well? He
Yeah, yeah,
facilitator.
no, I think for mine earlier, what I was going to go with was Luke Orishano, just in this match that really showed his
Oh, yeah.
quality, was taking people on, wasn't afraid of doing things, and got rewarded for it tonight. And I hope that he can build in that. He's made that left wing back spot his own,
Yeah.
and really kind of found a home there. There was a lot of movement around in the first part of the season, trying to figure out how can we best fit this guy in. Someone's going to have to beat him out. I think when Miles Robinson comes back, somebody's got to slot into that center back role. Maybe that relationship with him and Engel is something that we've unlocked, and we keep Miazga and Robinson, in that back line with Engel with where he is, and kind
Hmm.
of play that rotated back line like I talked about in the last episode. So, but yeah, good shout about the back line, especially giving up 7 goals in a week, prior, and then now in June giving up 2 goals, in 2 matches. Or one goal in 2 matches, I should say,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
But almost, again, should have potentially had the clean sheet there. But with some rotation, with some guys out, love to see it. And how can we move forward with that? So, Sam, I think that's a good recap for this one. Again, a 3-1 victory for FC Cincinnati. We do have this match again on Saturday against Orlando City at 7:30. So go check that one out. But thanks again for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.